Well, Karen Koning Abuzayd is the commissioner for the UN Independent International Commission of Inquiry on Syria, and she joins us now from Geneva. Thanks so much for speaking to us. From what I understand, you're actually one of the authors of this report. Tell us what disturbed you most about its findings.
Well, our recent report is based on children, so I think it's even more disturbing than the things we've been reporting throughout the 8.5 years, which affect everybody, adults and children. You've already mentioned some of the things that happen to girls and boys, sexual assault, forcing them into various sorts of activities that children should not be involved in. They've been killed. They've been made to forced to fight. That's particularly for the boys. There are many incidents of rape and so on. They've been detained to just punish them and punish their families by not having the children with them. And in detention, they are often tortured and, well, certainly maltreated. Most of them missing school. The schools are bombed, gone. They can't go to school. And they're just at a loss, really. And the psychological effects on the children are horrific. And some of them have been persuaded to do or ordered to do things to other children, which we wouldn't want to have to hear happen. And they're used generally even as hostages to force parents to do certain things for the fighters, the terrorists.
Just to give it some perspective, though, I mean, is this different than what you would expect after nearly a decade of a civil war like this?
If I could say from my own experience, having worked for the UNHCR and UNRWA for 40 years in the UN, this is the most horrific things I've seen happening, not just to children, but especially to children, that they've become not just victims of the war, but sort of made to become part of the war and engaged in activities that we don't want to scar children's future or their minds in being involved in.
Okay. I mean, it almost sounds like a case of children used to be somewhat off limits, and then they are no longer. They're completely integrated into the most horrific parts of war as we know it. But, I mean, could more have been done, both within Syria and from abroad, internationally, to protect these children?
I'm not sure, certainly not now. I think there have been a lot of efforts. I mean, our commission is one of the examples. It was created immediately when the war started, and we've been reporting on the things which have gotten gradually worse. So even though we're reporting on them, they haven't stopped. Instead, they've gotten worse. So, and I think there are a lot of agencies, there are a lot of NGOs, non-government agencies that are actually working inside, doing their best to protect children, to offer them services, and well, generally to the population. But there's just so much violence going on from every direction and from so many different parties that I think it's difficult to see where we go from here and how we go any forward from here.
Okay, I was going to ask you if there are any solutions you could propose, but it sounds like it's just an impossible situation.
Fairly impossible, yes, okay. At the moment.
Karen Koning Abuzayd, thank you so much for joining us from Geneva. We appreciate it.